Young Millionaire fell in love at first sight with the bridesmaid who was late for the wedding, not knowing she was. The grand estate in Napa Valley was bathed in golden light, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows over the sprawling vineyard. Inside the main hall, guests whispered and shifted in their seats, the soft rustle of silk and murmurs of impatience filling the air. Logan Blake stood near the altar, his sharp black tuxedo fitting him perfectly, but his expression was anything but composed. "Where is she?" Logan muttered under his breath, glancing at his watch for what felt like the 100th time. His brow furrowed, and he leaned closer to the bride, who was already in position, her lace gown glistening in the sunlight, pouring through the arched windows. "Everyone's waiting," Logan said, his voice low but laced with urgency. The bride, a vision of patience and poise, leaned toward him with a whispered explanation. "Her car broke down on the way," she called. "She's almost here. Just stall a little longer." Logan sighed, running a hand through his neatly styled hair. "Stall? This isn't a board meeting, it's a wedding. People expect the ceremony to start on time." "She'll make it," the bride said with a confident smile, though her own nerves showed in the way she clenched her bouquet. Before Logan could respond, a loud creak echoed through the hall. The massive double doors at the back of the room slowly opened, revealing a disheveled but breathtaking woman standing in the doorway. All heads turned as the woman stepped inside, her cheeks flushed from exertion, her breathing labored. Sophia Bennett, the missing bridesmaid, had finally arrived. Her long dress was slightly wrinkled, the hem trailing behind her, damp with evidence of her rushed journey. One of her shoes, a glittering silver heel, was visibly scuffed, and the other looked mismatched. Sorry," she whispered as she hurried down the aisle, clutching her bouquet with one hand and holding the train of her dress with the other. Her dark hair, half pinned in an elegant style, had begun to unravel, loose strands framing her face. Despite her frazzled appearance, there was an undeniable grace about her, a quiet confidence that made the room seem to hush. Logan's gaze locked on her, his irritation evaporating in an instant. She reached the altar, mouthing another apology to the bride, who gave her an understanding nod. Logan, however, couldn't take his eyes off her. "Glad you could join us," he murmured, his tone hovering between sarcasm and amusement. Sophia glanced at him, her hazel eyes flashing with a mix of embarrassment and determination. "I wouldn't miss it for the world," she replied, her voice low but steady. As she took her place with the other bridesmaids, Logan found himself unable to focus on anything else. The ceremony began, the officiant's voice resonating through the hall, but Logan's thoughts were elsewhere. From the corner of his eye, Logan stole glances at Sophia. She stood tall and composed now, as if the chaos of her arrival had never happened. Her fingers gripped the bouquet tightly, but her expression softened as she watched the bride and groom exchange vows. Who is she? Logan wondered. Her presence was magnetic, pulling his attention away from everything else. Her mismatched shoes, the slightly smudged eyeliner that somehow only added to her charm, and the quiet dignity with which she carried herself, it all intrigued him. The vows were spoken, the rings exchanged, and applause erupted as the bride and groom kissed. Yet for Logan, the entire ceremony passed in a blur. His thoughts remained tethered to the enigmatic bridesmaid who had stormed into the hall like a whirlwind and captured his attention without even trying. As the guests began filing out for the reception, Logan lingered near the altar, his gaze following Sophia as she walked toward the exit with the other bridesmaids. "Logan, you coming?" the groom called, clapping a hand on his shoulder. Logan snapped out of his thoughts, plastering on a polite smile. "Yeah, I'll be right there." But as the groom walked off, Logan remained rooted in place, watching Sophia disappear through the doors. For the first time in years, Logan felt a sense of urgency that had nothing to do with business. He had to know more about her, to understand why she had managed to make such an impression on him in the span of a single, chaotic entrance. As the celebratory music drifted through the estate, Logan made his way to the reception, determined to find Sophia and uncover the mystery behind the bridesmaid who had turned his world upside down in mere moments. The golden glow of string lights cast a warm hue over the vineyard reception, where the celebration was in full swing. Laughter, clinking glasses, and the hum of conversation filled the air as guests mingled, danced, and toasted the newlyweds. Logan Blake stood by the bar, his glass of champagne untouched. His sharp eyes scanned the crowd, searching for the one person he couldn't stop thinking about since the ceremony. It didn't take long to spot her. Sophia stood near the edge of the dance floor, speaking with one of the other bridesmaids. Her laughter carried over the music, soft but infectious. Logan set his glass down and strode toward her, his signature confidence propelling him forward. As he approached, Sophia glanced up, her hazel eyes meeting his. "You certainly know how to make an entrance," Logan said, his voice teasing but warm. Sophia's lips curved into a nervous smile. "Not my best moment," she admitted. "But at least I made it in time." "Barely," Logan quipped, his grin disarming. "But if you hadn't, I'm sure the bride would found a way to drag you down the aisle herself." Sophia laughed, her shoulders relaxing slightly. "She might have tried. I wouldn't blame her, though. It's her big day." Logan tilted his head, studying her. "So how does someone as punctual as you end up late to a wedding?" Sophia hesitated for a beat, her smile faltering before she quickly recovered. "Let's just say it involved a flat tire, bad timing, and a lot of running in heels." Logan chuckled. "Sounds like a story worth hearing. Maybe over a dance?" Sophia glanced toward the dance floor, where couples swayed to a soft jazz melody. "I don't know," she began, but Logan extended his hand, his expression playful yet insistent. "Come on," he said. "You owe me for making us wait at the altar." Sophia rolled her eyes but placed her hand in his. "Fine, but don't expect me to be any good at this. I'm more of a spectator than a dancer." "We'll take it slow," Logan promised, leading her onto the floor. As they began to move, Sophia's initial awkwardness melted away. Logan's steady hand guided her effortlessly, his charm putting her at ease. "Not bad," he said, a smirk tugging at his lips. "For a self-proclaimed spectator." Sophia laughed softly. "You're not so bad yourself. I'm guessing you've done this before." "Once or twice," Logan admitted. "But I don't think I've ever had such a captivating partner." Sophia looked away, her cheeks tinged with color. "You're good at this," she said. "At dancing?" "No," she replied, meeting his gaze. "At making people feel comfortable, even when they're completely out of their element." Logan's smirk softened into a genuine smile. "It helps when the company is worth it." Their conversation flowed as easily as their movements, their banter laced with warmth and curiosity. Logan found himself drawn to her honesty and quick wit, while Sophia couldn't help but be intrigued by his easygoing demeanor. "So, what do you do, Sophia?" Logan asked as the song shifted into a slower melody. Sophia's smile faltered briefly. "I work at an art gallery," she said, choosing her words carefully. "Mostly behind the scenes." "That sounds fascinating," Logan said. "Which one?" "Maybe I've been there." "It's small," Sophia replied quickly. "Not the kind of place that gets a lot of foot traffic." Logan raised an eyebrow at her vague answer but decided not to press her. "I'd still love to see it sometime," he said. Sophia gave him a polite smile. "Maybe." As the dance ended, Logan escorted her off the floor, reluctant to let the conversation end. But as they neared the edge of the crowd, a photographer appeared, aiming their camera toward the dance floor. Sophia tensed visibly, turning her head away from the lens. "Everything okay?" Logan asked, noticing the shift in her demeanor. "I'm fine," Sophia said quickly. "I just don't like having my picture taken." Logan nodded, though her reaction puzzled him. "Fair enough. No photos then." Not long after, Sophia glanced at her watch and sighed. "I should go," she said, her tone reluctant. "Already?" Logan asked, disappointment flickering across his face. "It's getting late," Sophia replied, "and I have an early morning tomorrow." "Let me walk you out," Logan offered. Sophia hesitated but nodded. "All right." As they walked toward the parking area, Logan couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to Sophia than she was letting on. Her easy laugh, her sharp mind, and even her reluctance to share personal details all painted a picture of someone who carried secrets she wasn't ready to reveal. When they reached her car, a modest sedan with a slightly dented bumper, Sophia turned to face him. "Thanks for the dance, Logan," she said, her voice warm. "Thanks for letting me drag you onto the floor," Logan replied, his grin returning. "But I have a feeling I'll be seeing you again." Sophia's smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "We'll see," she said, slipping into her car. Logan watched as she drove off, her taillights fading into the distance. His chest tightened with a mix of frustration and intrigue. He didn't know much about Sophia Bennett, but one thing was clear, he wasn't ready to let this mystery go. The morning after the wedding, Logan Blake found himself distracted. Sitting in his sleek corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown, he tried to focus on the endless emails demanding his attention. But his mind kept drifting back to Sophia Bennett, the mysterious bridesmaid who had left as quickly as she had arrived. His curiosity got the better of him. By mid-morning he picked up his phone and called the bride. "Logan," her voice chirped on the other end, "what can I do for you?" "I have a question," Logan said, trying to sound casual. "Your bridesmaid, Sophia, what's her story?" The bride hesitated, her tone turning cautious. "Sophia's a private person, Logan. She doesn't talk much about her life, especially her family. I'll just say she's been through a lot and likes to keep her distance." "Distance, huh?" Logan mused. "Well, she's not making it easy for someone to get to know her." "Maybe that's the point," the bride said with a light laugh. "But if anyone can break through, it's you. Just be gentle. She's not like the women you're used to." Logan couldn't let it go. Using the connections that came with his influence, he soon discovered Sophia's workplace, a small but charming art gallery tucked away in a quieter part of the city. That afternoon, Logan walked through its doors, the bell above tinkling softly. The gallery was bright and airy, its walls lined with abstract paintings, modern sculptures, and photographs that seemed to capture fleeting moments. In the center of the room, sorting through a stack of frames, was Sophia. Her hair was pulled back into a loose ponytail, and she wore a simple blouse and jeans, a sharp contrast to the elegant dress she'd worn at the wedding. Yet Logan found her just as captivating. Sophia looked up, her expression shifting from surprise to mild annoyance. "Logan," she said, standing. "What are you doing here?" "You disappeared before I could ask for a second dance," Logan replied smoothly, his grin playful. Sophia crossed her arms, arching an eyebrow. "And you tracked me down for that? Persistent, aren't you?" "You left me no choice," Logan said, his tone light. "Besides, I was curious. You're full of surprises, Sophia Bennett." Sophia sighed but didn't seem entirely upset by his presence. "So now you've satisfied your curiosity. You can leave." Logan's grin widened. "Not quite. How about coffee? Unless you're planning to run away again." Sophia hesitated, glancing at the clock. She was about to decline when Logan added, "Just one coffee. You can even pick the place." Her lips twitched in what might have been the hint of a smile. "Fine. One coffee." They ended up at a cozy cafe a few blocks away. Logan held the door open for Sophia, who ordered tea while he opted for black coffee. They found a table by the window, the afternoon sunlight streaming in. "So," Logan began, leaning back in his chair, "tell me about your art. Working at the gallery must be inspiring." Sophia nodded, her hands wrapped around her mug. "I love it. I've always been drawn to art, how it can say things words can't. I used to paint a lot when I was younger." "Why'd you stop?" Logan asked, his genuine interest catching her off guard. Sophia hesitated, her gaze dropping to her tea. "Life got complicated," she said simply. "Sometimes you have to put dreams on hold." Logan sensed she didn't want to elaborate, so he shifted the conversation. "Do you ever think about picking it up again? Painting, I mean." "Maybe," Sophia said softly, a wistful look in her eyes. "But it's hard to find the time." "Sometimes you have to make time for the things that matter," Logan said, his voice low but steady. Sophia looked at him, and for a moment her guarded expression softened. "That's easy for you to say," she replied, though there was no malice in her tone. Logan smiled. "Not as easy as you think." As they talked, Sophia found herself laughing at Logan's stories, his mishaps as a young entrepreneur, the time he accidentally crashed a golf cart at a charity event, and his struggle to keep a houseplant alive despite his best efforts. "You're not what I expected," Sophia admitted, surprising herself with the confession. "What did you expect?" Logan asked, leaning forward. "Someone different," she said vaguely, her smile fading as her phone buzzed on the table. Sophia glanced at the screen, her face paling slightly as she read the message. Logan noticed the change immediately. "Everything okay?" he asked. Sophia quickly put the phone away, forcing a tight smile. "It's nothing, just work." But Logan wasn't convinced. Sophia stood, grabbing her purse. "I should get back. Thanks for the coffee." Logan stood as well, watching her closely. "You're not running away again, are you?" he teased lightly, though his concern was evident. Sophia's smile was faint, almost apologetic. "Some mysteries are better left unsolved, Logan," she said before turning and walking out of the cafe. Logan sat back down, staring out the window as Sophia disappeared down the street. Her words lingered in his mind, but they only strengthened his resolve. He didn't know what she was hiding, but one thing was clear. He wasn't ready to give up on Sophia Bennett. Not yet. The following week, Logan couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to Sophia than she let on. Her evasiveness, the cryptic phone message, and her reluctance to talk about herself all pointed to a deeper story. The answers came unexpectedly during a lunch meeting with an old acquaintance, Mark Caldwell, a venture capitalist known for his encyclopedic knowledge of high society. "Logan, you've been distracted all lunch," Mark said with a grin. "What's on your mind? A new deal? Or is it a girl?" Logan smirked. "Maybe both. What do you know about Sophia Bennett?" Mark's expression shifted, his brow furrowing. "Bennett? Are we talking about Henry Bennett's daughter?" Logan froze. "What do you mean?" Mark leaned in, lowering his voice. "Henry Bennett was one of the biggest names in finance a decade ago. Then the scandal hit: fraud, insider trading, the works. His empire crumbled overnight. His daughter, Sophia, vanished from the public eye. Haven't heard her name in years." Logan processed this information, a mix of surprise and concern flooding his thoughts. "And she's been off the radar since then?" "As far as I know," Mark said. "If she's resurfaced, it's news to me. What's your connection to her?" Logan didn't answer, his thoughts racing. Later that evening, Logan stood outside the gallery, the sun setting behind him as he waited for Sophia. When she stepped out, locking the door behind her, she started in surprise at the sight of him. "Logan," she said cautiously, "what are you doing here?" "We need to talk," he said, his voice steady but firm. Sophia's eyes flickered with apprehension, but she nodded. "All right, let's walk." They strolled down the quiet street, the city's evening bustle humming in the background. Logan didn't waste time. "I know who you are, Sophia," he began, watching her reaction closely. She stiffened, her steps faltering for a moment before she continued walking. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, her voice strained. "Henry Bennett," Logan said gently. "Your father." Sophia stopped abruptly, turning to face him. Her expression was a mix of fear and defiance. "Why didn't you tell me?" Logan asked, his tone less accusatory and more searching. "Were you ever going to?" "Because it doesn't matter," Sophia replied, her voice shaking. "I'm not that person anymore." They found a bench near a small park and sat in tense silence before Sophia finally spoke. "Everything changed when my father's world fell apart," she said quietly. "I was just out of college, trying to figure out who I was. Then the scandal broke, headlines, paparazzi, accusations everywhere. My father dragged us all down with him." Logan listened intently, his gaze fixed on her. "My mother left, my friends disappeared, and suddenly I was the daughter of a criminal. People only saw the name Bennett, not me," Sophia continued, her voice thick with emotion. "I couldn't escape it, so I left. I changed everything, my city, my job, my life. I wanted to rebuild, to be someone more than just his shadow." "Why the gallery?" Logan asked softly. "Because it's quiet," Sophia said. "Because no one asks questions and I can just exist without judgment." Logan leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "I get why you'd want to leave all that behind," he said. "But why not tell me? I wouldn't have judged you." Sophia looked at him, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "Because I didn't want you to see me differently. The moment people know, it changes everything. They either pity me or use me. I didn't want that with you." Her vulnerability struck Logan deeply. He reached out, taking her hand. "Sophia, I don't care about your name or your past. I care about you, the person sitting right here." Sophia's lip quivered, and for a moment, it seemed like the walls she had built around herself were beginning to crumble. Before either could say more, a sudden flash startled them. Logan turned to see a man with a camera across the street, snapping photos furiously. "Who's that?" Sophia asked, her voice rising in panic. "Journalist," Logan said grimly, standing and shielding her from the lens. "Stay here." He crossed the street quickly, but the photographer darted into an alley, disappearing before Logan could reach him. When Logan returned, Sophia was visibly shaken. "He knows," she whispered. "It's all going to come out now." "Let me handle this," Logan said firmly. "I won't let them hurt you." Sophia shook her head, stepping back. "You don't understand. They'll dig up everything, my father, my family, my life. And now, you're part of it." "So what?" Logan countered. "Let them talk. It doesn't change how I feel about you." But Sophia was already retreating, her face pale. "I can't do this, Logan," she said, her voice breaking. "I can't drag you into my mess." She turned and walked away, leaving Logan standing alone in the fading light, the weight of her words pressing heavily on his heart. The morning started with chaos. Logan arrived at his office only to find a stack of newspapers and a barrage of emails from his PR team. The headlines splashed across every screen read: Billionaire's love affair with fallen heiress, Logan Blake and Sophia Bennett's secret past exposed. Logan scanned the article, his jaw tightening with each word. The piece painted Sophia as a manipulative social climber, desperate to use Logan's success to claw her way back into high society. There were photos from the park, accompanied by speculative commentary about their relationship. By mid-morning, the scandal had reached his boardroom. His business partners gathered for an emergency meeting, their concern evident. "Logan, this isn't just about you," one of them said. "Our company's reputation is on the line. Clients are asking questions." Another chimed in, "You have to distance yourself from her. We can't afford this kind of distraction right now." Logan stood at the head of the table, his expression calm but firm. "This is my personal life," he said evenly. "It doesn't affect how I run this company." "Perception is reality," another partner countered, "and right now the perception isn't good." That evening, Logan arrived at Sophia's apartment, determined to reassure her. But when she opened the door, he immediately noticed the packed suitcase near the couch. "What's going on?" he asked, his voice laced with concern. Sophia looked at him, her eyes heavy with regret. "I'm leaving, Logan. This has gone too far." "Leaving?" Logan stepped inside, his disbelief evident. "You're letting some tabloid dictate your life?" "This isn't just about me," Sophia snapped, her voice breaking. "Look at what this is doing to you, your business, your reputation. You don't deserve this kind of fallout." Logan closed the gap between them, his tone softening. "Sophia, I don't care about the headlines or what people think. What we have is real. Don't let them take that away from us." Sophia shook her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. "You don't understand. I've been here before, watching everything crumble because of my name. I won't let that happen to you." "You're not your father," Logan said firmly. "And you're not alone anymore. We can face this together." Sophia looked away, her shoulders trembling. "I can't risk it, Logan. It's better if I walk away." Her words hit him like a blow. "Sophia, please." "I'm sorry," she whispered, stepping back. "But this is the only way." Logan watched helplessly as Sophia grabbed her suitcase and slipped out the door. The sound of it closing behind her was deafening. For days Logan buried himself in his work, trying to distract himself from the ache Sophia's absence had left behind. But no matter how busy he kept himself, her voice, her laugh, her presence haunted him. Late one night, he sat alone in his penthouse, staring out at the city skyline. The scandal had already begun to die down, the headlines replaced by fresher gossip. Yet the damage to his heart remained. He thought about what his partners had said, about perception and reputation. But none of it mattered, not compared to what he had found with Sophia. She had brought something into his life he hadn't realized he was missing: authenticity, warmth, and a sense of purpose beyond success and wealth. Logan picked up his phone and made a call. The next day, Logan met with the bride, who had always been close to Sophia. "I need your help," he said simply. She smiled knowingly. "I was wondering how long it would take." "Do you know where she is?" Logan asked, hope flickering in his voice. "She mentioned going back to her hometown," the bride said. "There's an old art studio there where she used to paint. If she's anywhere, it's probably there." Logan nodded, gratitude shining in his eyes. "Thank you." The small town was a stark contrast to Logan's usual surroundings. As he drove through its quiet streets, he felt a strange mix of nerves and determination. He found the art studio easily. It was a modest, weathered building with large windows that let in the natural light. Through the glass, he spotted her. Sophia was seated at an easel, her back to him, her brush moving across the canvas in deliberate strokes. For a moment, Logan just watched, his heart swelling at the sight of her doing something she clearly loved. Finally, he stepped inside, the bell above the door jingling softly. Sophia turned, her eyes widening in shock. "Logan," she said, standing. "What are you doing here?" "I came to bring you back," he said simply. Sophia frowned, crossing her arms. "I told you, Logan. This isn't going to work." Logan closed the distance between them. "You're wrong, Sophia. It already works. It works because I don't care about your past or the headlines or what anyone else thinks. I care about you." Sophia's resolve faltered as she looked into his eyes. "Logan, you can't run forever," Logan said gently. "And I'm not going anywhere, so you might as well stop running." Tears welled in Sophia's eyes, and for the first time in weeks, she allowed herself to hope. "Okay," she whispered. Logan smiled, pulling her into his arms. "Okay," he echoed. Together they stood in the quiet studio, a sense of peace settling over them as they embraced the second chance they both deserved. The gallery hummed with quiet energy as guests wandered through, admiring the carefully curated exhibit. Each piece was tied together by a theme of resilience, growth, and transformation. At the center of the exhibit was the highlight of the evening, a striking painting of a woman standing tall against a stormy backdrop, her eyes fierce and unyielding. Sophia stood near the entrance, watching as visitors marveled at the artwork. She had no idea who the artist was or how the piece had come to the gallery, but something about it felt deeply personal. The gallery owner approached her with a knowing smile. "There's someone here who'd like to speak with you," he said, nodding toward the far end of the room. Sophia turned, her breath catching as she saw Logan standing there in a tailored suit, his hands clasped in front of him. "Logan," she said, walking toward him. "What are you doing here?" Logan smiled warmly. "You didn't think I'd let you have an exhibit like this without being part of it, did you?" Sophia tilted her head, confused. "What do you mean?" Logan gestured toward the centerpiece painting. "That's yours. I commissioned it for you." Sophia's hand flew to her mouth, her eyes welling up as she looked at the painting again. "You did this for me." "Every brushstroke," Logan said, his voice soft, "was meant to show how I see you, strong, beautiful, and capable of standing through any storm." As the room quieted, Logan turned to address the guests. "Thank you all for coming tonight," he began, his voice carrying across the gallery. "This exhibit is about resilience and the power to redefine yourself, no matter where you've come from or what you've been through." His eyes found Sophia's and he continued. "Sophia Bennett has spent so long hiding who she is, but to me, she's perfect just as she is. Her past doesn't define her, her heart, her courage, and her talent do. And I've been lucky enough to see that firsthand." Sophia's tears spilled over as Logan stepped closer, lowering his voice so only she could hear. "I don't care about your name or your past, Sophia. I care about you. I always have and I always will." Sophia's heart swelled as she searched his face, finding nothing but sincerity and love. "You didn't just see me, Logan," she whispered. "You believed in me, and that means everything." The room erupted in applause as Logan took her hand, leading her to the center of the gallery. Months later, Logan stood on the sprawling estate in Napa Valley, the same one where they had first met. Friends and family gathered under a canopy of twinkling lights as the sun set over the vineyards. Logan took Sophia's hand, his eyes never leaving hers as he spoke. "Sophia, from the moment you burst through those doors, late and flustered, you turned my life upside down. I didn't know then how much you'd come to mean to me, but now I can't imagine my life without you. Will you let me spend the rest of it making you happy?" Sophia smiled through her tears. "Yes," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. 1,000 times yes. Their wedding day was a celebration of love, resilience, and second chances. The ceremony was intimate, filled with laughter, heartfelt speeches, and the warmth of a close-knit group of loved ones. As they shared their first dance under a canopy of string lights, Sophia rested her head against Logan's chest, feeling the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. "Thank you for chasing me," she whispered. Logan smiled, his arms tightening around her. "It was the easiest decision I ever made." The night stretched on, filled with joy and the promise of a new beginning. For Logan and Sophia, it wasn't just the start of a marriage, it was the start of a life built on love, trust, and the belief that together they could weather any storm. As Logan and Sophia danced under the glowing lights, their story reminds us that love has the power to heal, transform, and bring out the best in us. From a chance meeting at a wedding to overcoming secrets and scandals, they prove that true love is worth fighting for. If this heartwarming story touched you, don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who believes in the magic of love and second chances. Subscribe to Soul Stirring Stories channel for more stories that inspire, move, and remind us of the beauty in life's unexpected moments. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss another tale of love and resilience. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.